Scott Bauer is joining us here to walk through some of the big swings. Again, Scott, we find ourselves talking Nat Gas, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and it's down pretty big, but what do we think about the trend?
You love that name. You love the Widowmaker name. But, I agree with you. Just when you think that there's this big pop and it's the momentum as we talk about, especially with Nat Gas, is to the upside, all of a sudden, bam, we get slammed today almost 5%. And,
right.
It's all on the weather outlook. It's all on the weather forecast. When we were talking about this just about 10 days ago, we had that cold snap throughout the country. And that's what, pushed natty gas futures up to about that 270-ish level here. And we were talking about the momentum to the upside. However, you look from a technical standpoint also, Oliver, and there's some major resistance, which you and I had talked about, around 275. That's that 200-day moving average. And whether it was technical trading, whether it's the weather forecast, whatever it is, natty gas couldn't break through it. So now that short-term momentum does swing to the downside. However, if you look at the bigger picture here, it really has been pretty range-bound.
Now, I like that point. Since last year's epic, crash that did put some people out of business, it actually has almost kind of formed this, kind of resistance at about $2.82, where we've been trading below that since. So the kind of floor of the last couple of years now is almost looking like a ceiling in a way after this rejection. I mean, this is just kind of very layman's armchair stuff, but to your point, it has been, by that definition, a little range bound.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really not layman's, definition. I mean, it is what it is, and technicians and chartists will look at that and say, just like you pointed out, what used to be support is now major resistance. And, man, the name, I guess, of the Widowmaker really is true. And unless there's some big weather coming in that we don't know about yet, that's not predicted yet, I don't see how we're pushing up past that resistance level. Yeah,
and I think this is part of it, right, is the forecast now looking a little bit better, which I'm a fan of. But again, it's like trying to figure out the weather for this thing. Part of the reason why it moves so quickly, it's tough. I mean, it's November 18th, so we're definitely far into fall. But we saw how quickly this market can be taken by surprise. I imagine there's probably still some pretty big positioning out there in this market.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, there were some really big shorts that, got hurt on that run up to 270 or so that are now, kind of laughing at the bulls here. But, again, you look at the bigger picture here, and as big of these one-day or intraday swings that we've seen over the last couple of weeks in both directions, still pretty range-bound.
Yeah, all right. And to your point, according to CFTC commitment, there was some positioning unwind, but look, at 270 or rather where we are right now at about 255 now, we'll keep an eye on it, Scott. I'm liking talking nat gas with Mr. Bauer. Let's talk some crude too, though.
I like it too.
Because we've got a little bit of softness that came back into crude oil, but what do you think about this, Scott? Because to me, it's like you could look at it and think it's range bound. You could look at it and say it was trying to break out. But again, crude has been tough to figure out.
Very tough to figure out. It moves on the headlines. It's moving now on a report out of the EIA that shale production is set to increase quite a bit. It's also volatility starting to tick up a little bit here, Oliver, because now we're only getting a couple weeks away from that OPEC meeting, December 5th and December 6th, and it's really anyone's guess as to what they're going to decide to do, whether they keep those cuts in place from last December, whether they extend them, or actually whether they pull them back a little bit. But, it's starting to get very headline driven. Obviously, the U.S. and China tariff talks have taken its toll. It's a very fluid market. But for the first time now, if you look overnight, China actually said something about the impeachment proceedings that's giving them caution as to this phase one deal. And I believe that has a lot to do with that, 1.5% to 2% pullback that we saw today in crude.
Yeah, all right, back down below $57. Rejection from trying to break out. Scott Bauer, nice work here talking some energy with us. Plenty of energy on energy. Mr. Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Thank you, Scott.